Good afternoon. So almost after I think 2 weeks. Okay, so what are you discussing in class? Tax? It's a classification. बहुत पीछे यार अभी तो. So we discussed the deficit last time, I think, till monetized deficit. Okay, nice. So classification. So have you read about the article 268, 269, 270, 271, 272 distribution of tax resources? Yes or no? Okay. Good. What article 268 provides? 268. Collected by the states and used by whom? States only. Okay. Now, basically, when it comes to classification of taxes, the three ways are there to classify. It is not a tax, it is a way to classify. You can say which tax comes under which category. Like in case of first one, it is the direct and indirect taxes. Have we discussed this thing? Okay. Then second is progressive taxation. And the third one is called as ad valorem tax and specific tax. So these are not taxes, these are the way to classify taxes. Like in case of direct and indirect tax, what is the meaning? Direct tax means a tax which is being imposed on someone, that person requires to, bear it. The burden cannot be shifted to anyone else. Like if you're having income tax, so if income tax is required to be paid by me on my income, so I am the only one who will pay it. I cannot shift it to someone else. So direct tax means the burden is to be borne by the same person on whom it is levied. Okay. In case of indirect taxes, you can say the burden can be shifted to someone else. Like service tax, custom duty, excise duty. Okay, these kind of taxes will come under the indirect taxes. For example, in this institute, when you took admission, let's suppose if you paid a fees of, let's suppose 1,15,000 rupees. So out of 1,15,000 rupees, your 1 lakh rupee is basically the fee for the institute, and the remaining 50,000 that you paid is basically amount of service tax. So 15% service tax is required to be paid. Okay. So service tax is required to be paid by the institute, but they shifted the burden on you. So we collected this amount from you and we simply submitted to whom? To the government of India. Okay. So when the burden can be shifted, it is indirect tax. Like suppose when you're buying something, you must have noted that the price is inclusive of all taxes. So taxes are there shifted on customers. Okay. So indirect tax means when the burden can be shifted. For example, if I am working in this institute and the institute is paying me, let's suppose, some amount for the purpose of this lectures. Suppose they paid me 1 lakh rupee. So instead of 1 lakh, they will pay me 1,15,000 rupees to me, because I am also liable to pay service tax. So as an indirect tax, what I did simply, I shifted my burden of service tax on an institute, and the institute shifted the burden on you. So the 15,000 that they will pay me as a service tax amount, I will simply submit it to the government of India. And suppose in a given quarter, the total amount of service tax required to be paid by the institute is 15 lakh rupees, that they required to pay this much, and I required to pay only 15,000, let's suppose. So what they will do, they will pay 14 lakh 85,000. So they will get a deduction here. Because I paid, they're not supposed to pay again. Okay? You're getting my point or not? Because I am part of the institute, if I am paying service tax on the institute behalf, then they're not required to pay this amount again. Whatever total amount they're required to pay, they will simply deduct that amount from that total service tax amount. So effectively you can say the institute paid 15 lakh only. It's just that 1485 paid by them and the remaining 15,000 is being paid by me. Okay? So burden can be keep on shifted. That is what indirect tax is. So out of the total tax revenue, 99% of revenue of the government of India is coming from only 5 taxes. The highest amount we are getting from corporate tax. Second number, income tax. Third one, excise duty. Fourth one, service tax. And the fifth one is custom duty. Okay. So from these 5 taxes, almost 98 to 99% of the revenue we are receiving from these 5 taxes. So direct means burden can be shifted or not shifted. It cannot be shifted. In case of indirect, it can be shifted. The service tax, it is corporate tax number 1, like around 32% is coming from corporate tax, 22% is coming from income tax, 16, 15 and 14, something like that percentage is being there. It is not exact, it is custom duty. Custom duty means that the one you are paying when you import something. That is a custom duty you need to pay. Like in case of India, you're required to pay custom duty on a different product at a different rate. Like when you're buying a new car, you need to pay 100% custom duty. When it comes to buying an old car, you have to pay 200% custom duty. So suppose if you're being importing a Mercedes-Benz, completely assembled ready to drive condition from USA, and the price of that car is, let's suppose, 50 lakh rupees. So you need to pay in India how much? 1 crore. So 50 lakh duty you are required to pay in this case. And suppose if you are being importing an old car worth of 20 lakh rupees, so you need to pay how much price? 60 lakh in this case. Okay, 200% duty you need to pay. Yes, sir. Yes. What is means what?
You are paying 2 tax na, your income tax also and service tax also.
Yes, sir. So I will pay income tax on 1 lakh rupees, not 1,15,000. Because 1 lakh is my income. So when I'll raise my bill to the institute, what I'll provide, I'll say that you are paying 1 lakh rupee to me as the amount of my income. That's the amount you're supposed to pay to me for my services. And 15,000 you're paying me for the service tax. So I'll mention in the bill that I received this much amount of money as a part of service tax obligation, the part of institute. I am not going to use this money. I am simply submitting it to the government of India. Okay, and whatever institute will earn, they need to pay what? Corporate tax, because they are working as a company. So I'll play with that slabs of 10, 20, 30%. They will pay flat 30% tax. Is it clear? And now what is this progressive taxation? Progressive taxation means that when your tax rate will increase as your income will increase. For example, in case of India, if your income is 0 to 2.5 lakh, no tax. 2.5 to 5 lakh, 10%. 5 to 10 lakh, 20%. And then more than 10 lakh, 30% tax. So that is called progressive taxation pattern. As your income will increase, you need to pay more taxes. Why we are providing such kind of way? For the purpose of mitigating inequality in society. The person who is being rich is required to pay more tax. If you want to connect this with an article of the Constitution, fundamental rights, which article you can connect? Article 14. Article 14, what Article 14 provides? So is it right to equality or equal protection before law? सोच लीजिए आराम से, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, a lot of time. Is it right to equal equity before law or equal protection before law? Why is there equal protection before law?
Because like is treated in the like manner and unlike is treated in unlike manner.
Okay, what is unlike in unlike manner, like in like manner?
The income of the if any individual having the income more than the 5 lakh or 2.5 lakh, so his income is more than the 2.5 lakh. So means the basic gain will be different, and all the requirements.
So simply you can say alike should be treated alike. If rich is there, they are required to pay more tax. If a poor is there, is required to pay less tax. That's all. In this manner, you are providing poor a kind of a same platform and rich a same platform. So we want to collect more tax from the rich and provide it to whom? To the poor for their welfare activities. That is what equal protection before law. In which country the concept of equal protection law arises? In USA. It is a positive or negative concept? Positive. Good.
We can say that government is using equity principle. Means according to need or capacity they are shifting.
So not need or capacity. It basically about ki when it comes to somebody is having a high level of income, they're required to pay more taxes to the government of India. Okay? Any doubt in this? Yeah. It is there. I'll discuss, don't worry. Okay. Now what is this ad valorem tax? देखिए, ad valorem tax means a tax that is applied on the total value of a commodity. For example, if I manufactured 1,000 shirts and the price of one shirt is, let's suppose, 100. So in this case, the total value will be how much? 1 lakh rupees. So I need to pay tax on rupees 1 lakh. Is it fine or not? So ad valorem means when you're paying tax on a certain specific what? The value of a commodity. You're not supposed to see the quantity, see the value only. How much is the total value? That is price multiplied by quantity. And what is specific tax? So you can say in case of India, the excise duty and the other are being provided on the basis of ad valorem. Okay. And what is specific tax? When you apply tax on certain specific attributes of a commodity. For example, in case of India, if you see this product, that is called cigarette. So cigarettes are basically in India are applied tax on the basis of its length. So when you buy a cigarette next time, okay, do notice on a packet, you will find the length of the cigarette in millimeter. Longer the cigarette, higher the tax is. Smaller the cigarette, lesser amount of tax you're required to pay. Because if you consume a cigarette which is being kind of a bigger, what happened? It is going to harm you more because it will be there for longer duration. But if you're buying something, a small cigarette, that will be there, for short duration, that will harm you less. And moreover, it will also create less pollution. Okay, so taxes on this basis is basically provided on the basis of what? That you have in the length of a product. Like for example, when it comes to paying taxes on the property, you are supposed to pay tax on the property is what? Total carpet area. That is what? The length of a property. Okay, so on that basis, you're required to pay taxes. So whenever you pay taxes on the basis of certain specific attributes of a commodity, that tax is known as specific taxes. For example, in case of India, if you buy a cigarette called Classic, okay, so the price of Classic to ITC for manufacturing purpose is around 60 rupees something. But when it comes to buying this packet in market, you will get a packet of cigarette for almost 250 rupees something. So almost 400% tax is being levied by government. When it comes to buying small cigarette like, this 4 square, the price of cigarette to the company is only around 19 or 20 rupees something. But when it comes to paying the amount to the retailer that you are paying is around 75 to 100 rupees. So almost 300% of taxes are being applied by government. So cigarette and liquor are the biggest source of revenue to any government in any country because the people are being kind of addicted to it. जिसको पीनी है वो पिएगा. Okay, whatever price it will be, they will have it, and that's why they're being applying a huge amount of tax on this kind of product. Tell me any doubt in this? Yes. Any question on this? No. So write it fastly. लिखना है, आगे बढ़े. जल्दी लिखिए फटाफट से. Direct and indirect taxes you can write. A direct tax is a tax. A direct tax is a tax whose burden is borne by the same person. Whose burden is borne by the same person on whom it is levied. Burden is borne, B-O-R-N, borne by the same person on whom it is levied. Comma, in other words, its burden cannot be shifted. Its burden cannot be shifted to any other person. First talk like income tax, corporate tax. Like income tax and corporate tax. Second, you can write indirect taxes. You can write indirect tax is a tax. You can write indirect tax is one which is imposed on someone, but borne by someone else. It means its burden can be shifted. Full stop. For example, custom duty, excise duty, service tax. Custom duty, service tax, excise duty, etc. In the next line you can write, of the total tax income, in the next line, of the total income from taxes, the five major tax in terms of collection are as follows. As you have the number, corporate tax 32%, income tax 22%, excise duty 16%, service tax 15%, custom duty 14%. Okay, so that is the sequence of tax collection of the government of India in 15-16 year. Okay, and how much money received by government of India's total tax revenue? It is around 14,49,000 crore rupees. Imagine how much money they are receiving from various taxes. 14,49,000 crore. That the figure is not required. I'm just telling you. Okay. Second, you can write progressive taxation. Progressive taxation. You can write it is one. You can write it is one under which as the income of a person goes up, the rate of income tax also goes up. First of thus, there is a higher tax. Thus, there is a higher tax on higher income and lower tax on lower income. Thus, there is a higher tax on higher income and lower tax on lower income, with the objective of reducing income inequalities. Full stop. Third one you can write ad valorem tax and specific tax. Ad valorem हिंदी में बोलते हैं यथा मूल्य कर. Ad valorem tax and specific tax. You can write it means tax based on the value of a commodity. It means tax based on the value of a commodity. That is price multiplied by quantity produced. Price multiplied by quantity produced. First off, for example, you can write, first off, for example, a shirt manufacturer manufacture 1,000 shirts of rupees 100 each. Of rupees 100 each. And each. So the tax would be applied on. The tax would be applied on 1,000 multiplied by 100 equals to 1 lakh rupees. 1 lakh rupees. Okay. And last you can add specific tax. On the other hand, a specific tax is one. A specific tax is one which is imposed on certain specific attributes of a commodity. Specific attributes of a commodity. Specific attributes of a commodity. First up, it could be size, length, width, quantum, etc. Width, quantum, etc. It could be size, width, length, quantum, etc. Full stop. For example, cigarettes in India. Are taxed on the basis of length. Basis of its length. Like, there is a one theory when you read about the product's success in the market, then what you will find that when you launch any new product in the market, that will be kind of very attractive and new altogether. Your sales for the product will go like this. If you will not do any kind of innovation in your product, or if you will not introduce anything new, then what happened? Then the sales of a product will become stagnant and then start declining. At one point of time, the sales will be kind of very low or nothing. Like you can take this example in case of Tata Indica car. When Tata launched Indica in India, it was the first diesel car, small diesel car. And the people, highly accepted this thing. But later on, they didn't provide any kind of, innovation in the product. And then what happened? The sales of the product start declining. And today, nobody is buying Tata Indica except the taxi drivers. Okay. Same in case what happened, this case study is being there in one of the business school at a global level. There's a one line that we use. The product which is being kind of attractive attracts a customer more. जो दिखता है वो बिकता है, ऐसा बोलते हैं ना. So once what happened, the USA allowed the import of this thing. There's a one substitute to a product of cigarette that is called BD. At a global level, the 4 countries who have been mastered in terms of making BD are India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan. Okay, the 4 countries, best country in the world. They are being best in terms of manufacturing BDs. So what happened? Our BD, reached to USA. Like when you compare BD and cigarette in terms of harmful product, then BD is comparatively less harmful. Because when you consume cigarette, the paper that is being there, that is being used for the purpose of rolling, when you consume it, when you light it up, it generates carbon monoxide. That creates a lot of harm to your health. But when it comes to BD, BD is using a kind of a patta, okay? That will not create this particular gas called carbon monoxide. That is less harmful. And moreover, in less price, you will get more intoxication in case of BD. Yes or no? So when a BD reached to USA, the people really liked it. Seriously. They found, first of all, less harmful and kind of more enjoyable product. But again, as the line, when you provide something new, people will like it. If you not do any kind of innovation, the sales will start declining. So at one point of time, what happened, our product BD sales started declining in USA and the other country. So the manufacturer thought, we have to do some sort of innovation in our product. So what they did, they simply, increase the size of BD, and make it attractive, make it bigger, okay, so they look like cigarette. Secondly, they also thought, let's make it more, kind of attractive in terms of looks also. So what they did, they simply start coloring the patta of this BD with certain colors. Like as you have in the peacock, more color, जो glitter करता है. They start using this particular color on the BD leaf that they're using. So imagine, when you see more, तो मोर के जो पंख होते हैं, जब उस पर आप लाइट मारते हैं देर में तो चिमकता है, वो ग्लिटर करता है. तो बीडी आपने रोल करी उससे, उस कलर से, ठीक है. सो व्हेन लाइट इट अप, इट विल शाइन. इमेजिन कि वो चमकती थी बीडी. तो सोचिए रात को अंधेरे में कोई बंदा बीड़ी पीता जा रहा है और सामने से लाइट पड़ी किसी गाड़ी की, तो जैसे जब आंखें चमकती ना किसी जानवर की, तो वैसी बीड़ी चमकेगी दूर से. एंड व्हेन वी, और हमने बीड़ी का नाम क्या रखा, मोर बीड़ी. सो दिस प्रोडक्ट वाज हाईली एक्सेप्टेड बाय दीज पीपल. बट लेटर ऑन व्हाट हैपेंड, द हेल्थ ऑफ द यूएस पीपल स्टार्टेड अफेक्टिंग बिकॉज ऑफ दिस प्रोडक्ट. And the sales of the cigarettes in USA start declining. So the government said, we need to, take care of this particular product. So after that, they put a ban on the BD import. And the Indian manufacturers suffered a lot. Okay, that happens. So point is, when you do such kind of things, you need to be, careful in terms of making certain innovations at different point of time. If you want to do any innovation, then the people will not accept your product. That is called BD story. A real story. It's not a fake one, obviously. Now, so that is about the classification. Now you can give heading India's tax system. So we'll discuss certain taxes one by one. As the theory I provided you, like this. There was one person called Arthur Laffer, not loafer, Arthur Laffer. What he said, if the rate of taxes is 0%, rate revenue. If the rate of taxes is 0%, the revenue of the government will also 0, because nothing is being applied, nothing has been received. When you start applying taxes, when you start increasing rates, your revenues will start increasing. But if you keep on increasing the rate of taxes, then what happened? At 100% tax rate, the revenues of the government will be 0. Why? If suppose the government is providing a 100% tax, then in this case, what I will do, I will simply say, let's not work anything, because whatever I'm earning, I have to pay as a tax to the government. So very high rate of taxes leads to what? Fall in revenue. So you can say this is the optimal tax rate for the government, because here the revenues are maximum. So point is, the rate should not be very low or should be very high, because in both the cases government will suffer. If it is low, you'll receive less. If it is more, you'll again receive less. So before 1991, the effective tax paid by Indian people to the government of India was around 85% something. It was very high. Okay, and because of that, the revenues of the government was kind of very less. So government of India wants to do certain reforms in the taxation pattern, and they invited a person called Raja J. Chalaiya. So Chalaiya was a person who provided certain reforms in the taxation system. What he said, कि sir, it is not difficult to increase revenue. देखिए, why we people are not ready to pay taxes? Because we are not happy with the working of the government. Corruption, pollution, traffic, law and order issue, electricity problem, the not clean drinking water provided by the government of India. So you'll face a lot of issue. When you have such a big amount of issue, what I will think if I'm a taxpayer, I'll think, yeah, I'm paying such a big amount of money to the government of India as a tax. But in return, what I'm getting nothing. So it is better not to pay tax. I will simply what do? I'll simply evade taxes. I will simply hide my income and I will not pay anything to the government of India. Why? Because whatever I'm paying, I'm not receiving in return, you can say some sort of service on the part of government of India. Yes or no? So Chalaiya Saab said a very simple thing, कि sir, do development, people will feel happy, they will start paying taxes. But government said, कि sir, development cannot be done overnight, it will take a lot of time. Provide us certain ways by which the revenues can be increased. So he provided very simple thing. He said, sir, rates are very high, reduce it. So that people will feel comfortable in terms of paying taxes to you. Because at a high rate, people are not comfortable. Like suppose if you're earning 100 rupees and if you need to pay 85 rupees as a tax to the government of India, will you work that hard as you can do? No. What you will think? Your majority, in fact, huge amount of money of my earning, I need to pay taxes to the government of India. So it is better not to work. Let's sit idle. Let's enjoy our life. Okay. So basically, he said, कि sir, reduce the rates. Secondly, dismantle, you can say the kind of very complicated taxation system. Make it easier so that people will be able to understand. Like after this, government of India launched a form called Saral form for the purpose of filing income tax return. Saral means easy. Though the name is easy, but it is not that easy actually. Okay. So when it comes to filing income tax return, we are having such kind of easier way to file. Plus, earlier why people were not comfortable in terms of paying taxes? Because they were thinking, yeah, whatever I'm earning, I have to pay tax. That is fine. But point is, to file the return, I need to go to a CA. And to CA, I need to 500,000 rupees for the purpose of filing return. So I will not go. Let's skip it. So what government of India is doing, as per the suggestion given by Chalaiya Saab, कि sir, whenever it comes to filing the tax return date, provide lot of camps in the government offices where the people can come and they can file the income tax return free of cost. You can provide your employee over there. Like if you want to file a tax return, 31st July is the last day for any assessment year. Go to the income tax office. You will find certain people who are sitting there in terms of filing the income tax return. Just tell them, sir, this is my income, this is my expenditure, please file the income tax return. They will fill the income tax return very fastly without charging even a single rupee. So you will be able to save your 1,000 rupees or 500 rupees. Okay. Moreover, when they said ki reduce the rates, so government of India put it a question, sir, if you'll reduce the rates, we are going to lose revenue. They said, no, sir, you will not lose revenue, but you will gain. Because a lot of people start feeling comfortable in terms of paying taxes at a low rate. At a high rate, they are not comfortable. And moreover, sir, if you want to increase revenue, do one thing, reduce this rate and start applying new taxes. When you apply new taxes, lot of people will come under the tax net and they have to pay tax to you. Like in 93, applied what? Service tax. Initially, service tax was applied on very few services. But now service tax is applied on most of the service. Only 4-5 services are being exempt currently. And as you know, it's the 4th highest tax revenue we are getting from the service tax only. So government of India started applying new taxes because once you comes under the tax net, it will be very difficult to get out of it. When it comes to taking the service tax number, it will maximum take 1 month to take the number. But when it comes to surrendering the service tax number, it will take 3 to 4 years to do that. Imagine. So point is, once you get into the tax net, it is difficult to get out of it. Like if you start filing an income tax return, if next year suppose you have no income, then government of India still will start sending you notices. Sir, your return has not received by us. What is the problem? Though if you, when you file it, you will show no income. But point is, they want you to file the return. Because as soon as you will file the return, you need to show your bank statement and all. If the government of India will find any kind of issue, they will simply send you notice and they will receive tax from you. Okay. So they want you to get into what? Tax net. That can be done only when somebody will start paying taxes and showing their own records. Okay. So this kind of recommendation was provided by them, and you know, from that date till today, every year the revenue of the government of India in terms of taxes is keep on increasing. Every year the revenues are increasing. Yes or no? So that reforms initially suggested by Chalaiya Saab, then later on Kelkar task force was provided. So they suggested suggestions implemented, and now you can say revenues are increasing every year. Is it fine? So write down this point. You can write a sound tax system is one which is simple, comma rational, comma has few slabs, SLABS. Slabs mean 10%, 20%, 30%, this kind of slab. Slabs, 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 comma, broad-based, and ensure compliance. Full stop. In other words, tax rates should neither be too high or too low, and there should be flexibility, and a wide choice, to the government to enlarge the base of taxation, flexibility and a wider choice to the government to enlarge the base of taxation, to bring more and more people slash sector slash occupations under the tax net. Tax net means जाल. Okay, जैसे आप लोग यूपीएससी के जाल में फंस चुके हैं. Okay, you can write India initiated tax reforms in 1991 by setting up Raja J Chalaiya Committee. राजा भी हैं, चलैया भी हैं, राजा जी चलैया कमेटी, एंड सब्सिक्वेंटली केलकर टास्क फोर्स. केलकर समझते हैं आप, नाम होता है सरनेम. ओके, केलकर टास्क फोर्स. ठीक है. So that is about brief, that how you can make the system better. Okay, it should not be high, it should not be low. Now we'll discuss certain taxes, like we'll discuss cess, surcharge, income tax, corporate tax, minimum alternative tax, then moreover your favorite GST. That is in news currently. Okay, so one by one we'll discuss this thing. So first of all, give heading cess and surcharge. Cess and surcharge. अधिभार और उपकर। देखिए हिंदी पढ़ना स्टार्ट कर लीजिए, मेंस लिखना है तो नेक्स्ट ईयर, ठीक है ना, बिकॉज यू विल हैव ए कंपल्सरी हिंदी पेपर ओवर देयर, बिकॉज यू विल कमिट लॉट ऑफ मिस्टेक्स व्हेन इट कम्स टू डूइंग द मात्रास एंड ऑल. सरचार्ज एंड सेस. देखिए the same thing for both this point is that both are being applied or both are basically tax on tax. Like normally you apply income tax on income. These two you will apply on tax. That's why it is being called as tax on tax. For example, in India, those people who are being kind of very rich, they are required to pay 15% surcharge if their income are above rupees 1 crore. Okay? And cess, you are having different type of cess. Like for example, in India, every income taxpayer is required to pay 3% education cess. Out of this, 2% for primary, 1% for secondary education. Now imagine, if your income is, let's suppose, 1 crore. How much tax you are required to pay? That you need to see. So on 1 crore, first 0 to 2.5 lakh no tax, 2.5 to 5 lakh, what is the tax rate? So on this difference, you need to pay 10% tax. How much? 25,000. Difference is 2.5 lakh, 10%, 25,000. 5 to 10 lakh, 20%, how much? 1 lakh. Then remaining income you need to pay how much? 30%. What is the remaining income? 90 lakh. So on 90 lakh you are required to pay 30%, it will be 27 lakh. So total taxes will be 28 lakh 25,000. That is the total tax you need to pay. Now as your income is 1 crore, you are required to pay 15% surcharge. So you need to calculate 15% of this. So that is a tax on tax. So when you calculate 2825 multiplied by 15%, it will be 4,23,750. So tax will be 750, 8, 4, 2, 32,48,000. So on this 32,48,750, you need to pay 3% more of what? Education says. So it will be 32,48,750 multiplied by 3%. It will be only 97,463 rupees. 3, 1, 2, 6, 4, 3, 3. Only 33 lakh 46,120 213 rupees. भगवान करे अब सब इतना टैक्स पे करें. Only. देखिए दुआ दे रहा हूं आप लोगों को. When you earn this much, then you will pay only this much amount of tax. Yes or no? So this is the tax you need to pay. So as you can see, both tax on tax, again tax on tax. So do remember, if you are required to pay surcharge, then first you will apply surcharge, then you will require to provide cess. If there is no surcharge, then you will only add what? Cess. So suppose if your income is 3 lakh rupees. So on 3 lakh rupees, the taxes would be 50,000 multiplied by 10%, 5,000 tax plus 3% of that, it will be how much? 150. So total tax will be 5150 that you need to pay because no surcharge is there. So cess has to be paid, but surcharge is only to those persons who are having huge level of income. So surcharge main purpose is to remove income inequalities in society, and cess is basically for the purpose of achieving certain specific objectives. Education cess is for what? Betterment of education. Okay. Tell me, what do you think? How much money is being received by Government of India as education cess in 2015-16? As you can see, only 3% is being there. So what do you think? How much revenue is being received by Government of India as an education cess last year? Any rough idea? Any wild guess? Tell me. सोचिए, कोई भी नंबर बताइए, कितने करोड़ रुपए? 3 लाख करोड़। मैम 3 लाख करोड़ कैसे होंगे? आई नो, यू आर नॉट सपोज टू बी कंप्लीटली इलॉजिकल. I said, if you remember, the total tax revenue of the government of India is 14,28,000 crore. And you know 5 taxes. तो बताइए 3 लाख करोड़ कैसे आ जाएंगे सरचार्ज या एजुकेशन सेस से? गैस करने के लिए बोला है तो उसमें भी यू नीड टू अप्लाई लिटिल बिट ऑफ माइंड. हाउ मच? 40,000 करोड़. ओके, 15,000. और आइए, कितना? 80,000 करोड़, 90,000 करोड़. लास्ट ईयर it was around 35,000 crore. Now tell me, is 35,000 crore amount is small? It's a big one. Last year it was 35,000, before that it was 33,000, before that it was 31,000, and before that 29,000 crore. So you can say last 4 years, government of India received almost more than 1,25,000 crore rupees from education cess. Are you able to see any kind of betterment in the education system at primary and secondary level? That is the point I want to mention. Okay. So thing is, our government is receiving huge taxes from us. But when you see the level of education in India, it is not there. Now we are also paying a thing called Swachh Bharat cess. 0.5%. Are you seeing the India clean? I'm not talking about the other states, I'm talking about Delhi. Because I am a resident of Delhi, so I know the cleanliness in Delhi for the last 2-3 years. Now, if you want to, blame here Aam Aadmi Party, MCD, central government, whatever it is, I really don't care who is responsible. I'm only seeing this thing that Delhi is comparatively dirty in comparison to earlier years. MCDs keep on striking, okay? But we need to pay more taxes to the government of India by way of Swachh Bharat cess. But we are not seeing. If you remember, Rahul Gandhi once said this thing. Is Swachh Bharat working? Bangalore. The people said yes, it is working. Okay. So, if you see in South Indian states, they are very clean in comparison to North Indian states. And they were even more cleaner in comparison to North Indian states, even before the Swachh Bharat cess. Because people are educated over there. We people are literate, but we are highly literate. When it comes to, following the basic amenities that we need to do. I've seen people from this class and the other class batches also, they are having something, after the class, they're simply throwing it outside. Let it be. Who cares? Okay? So it's not about that something is dirty, you'll make it more dirty. It's all about, following rules and regulation. 1 cup make a difference. Okay? So you people are educated, you should follow this thing. Let the other people, whatever they are doing, let them do. Because अगर आप उनको टोकेंगे ना, भैया कूड़ा मत फैलाओ, अच्छा तुझे क्या प्रॉब्लम है? हमारे यहाँ पे देश में एटीट्यूड ऐसा है लोगों का एक्चुअली. दे हार्डली बॉदर. सो यू नॉट सपोज टू से एनीवन. क्या पता वो आपसे लड़ने लग जाए, फिर आपको पुलिस के पास जाना पड़े, फिर और पुलिस पैसा मांगेगी, तो 50 दिक्कत होती हैं. तो बेटर है आप अपना काम कीजिए. सीरियसली, व्हाट आई नोटेड इन आवर कंट्री, दैट इफ यू टेल समबडी टू डू समथिंग गुड, वो कहेगा भैया दुश्मन है तू मेरा, मुझे मत बता. हमारे यहाँ ऐसा कुछ हो गया है. ठीक है, इसलिए एक अच्छे नागरिक खुद बनिए. कैसे नागरिक? देखिए बोलते ही नहीं है. मतलब क्या है, बनना थोड़ी है. ओके. सो वी आर हैविंग सो मेनी सेस, लाइक वी आर हैविंग one कृषि कल्याण सेस 0.5%. Okay, we are having infrastructure cess. Do you know infrastructure cess? 1% on small petrol car, CNG car, LPG car. So if your car is, let's suppose, 5 lakh rupees. So on 5 lakh you need to pay 5,000 as a infrastructure cess. If you are buying a diesel car in Delhi or in any part of India, you need to pay 2.5% of infrastructure cess. So suppose if a car value is 10 lakh, you need to pay 25,000 extra taxes. If you're buying an SUV in Delhi or in any part of India, you need to pay 4% infrastructure cess. So suppose your car value is 30 lakh, you need to pay 1.2 lakh rupees extra for that SUV as an infrastructure cess. That is being there. You will use for the purpose of infrastructure development of our economy. Okay, and there is one thing called clean environment cess. On every per ton of coal, you need to pay 400 rupees as an clean environment cess. Imagine how many cess we are paying every day. So when you go into restaurant, you are paying what? Krishi Kalyan cess. And what? Swachh Bharat cess. Do remember, whenever you are taking any service, you need to pay Krishi Kalyan and Swachh Bharat cess. But when you're paying income tax and corporate tax, you're supposed to pay education cess. So on different things, you're having different cess. It's not that the one cess is being applied on everything. When I am paying service tax to the government of India, I need to pay service tax, Krishi Kalyan cess and Swachh Bharat cess. When I'm paying my income tax, I need to pay education cess also. Okay, so different services, different way to provide taxes by the government of India. ये point है. समझ में आया surcharge and cess? So cess is for specific objective. Once the objective is realized, it may be dismantled. I'm not saying it will be dismantled because the government is not dismantling it. Once they're applying it, they're not dismantling it. This year, government of India dismantled, almost 13 cess. Why they dismantled? There's a reason behind that. No, not GST. Because the revenues from these cess was even less than 50 crore rupees. So they said better to dismantle. Why to take so much of paperwork having this cess? So they dismantle. Because tax collection is also leads to certain expenditure. Like in case of India, when it comes to collecting 100 rupee tax, we need to spend around, 93 paise to collect that amount, which is the lowest at the global level. Imagine such a huge corruption, still low tax collection rate. Yes or no? Like in case of India, when it comes to paying total taxes, 4.4% of the population of our country is paying taxes. Now, if I'll put one more question here, surcharge is being paid by whom? Rich people. What is the income? What do you think? How many people in India are paying or showing their income as more than 1 crore? Bataiye. What is the population? 125 crore plus. How many people are working? Around 47 crore people are working. Okay, out of our population. Okay, out of this 47 crore, around 4.4 crore people are filing income tax return. Tell me, out of 4.4 crore people, how many people are showing their income as more than 1 crore? 25,000, 35,000. Yes. As per the recent data provided by Income Tax Authority, it is only around 18,000 people. Do you think we are only having 18,000 people who are earning more than 1 crore? What do you think? Is it we are so poor? बताइए, आपको लगता है ना तो आप हाँ जवाब देते ना ना जवाब देते, पता नहीं कहाँ खोए रहते हैं यार. लगता है तो हाँ बोलिए, नहीं लगता तो ना बोलिए. क्या आपको लगता है हमारे देश में केवल 18,000 लोग हैं जो 1 करोड़ से ऊपर कमाते हैं? इसे तो दिल्ली में मिल जाएंगे आपको. But that is all over India. The people are evading taxes. Now you must have noted that lot of tax rates are being done by Income Tax Authority. अभी एक लॉ फर्म पे छापा पड़ा ग्रेटर कैलाश में, कितना मिला? 13 करोड़. इमेजिन, हमें 2000 का नोट मिलता नहीं है, उनके पास 2-2 करोड़ के पड़े हैं, पता नहीं कहां से लेके आते हैं यार. So that kind of things have been going on in our economy. So that is cess and surcharge. Write down fastly. If question is there, ask. If no, write. Yes, sir. Send there. Utilize. Yes, sir. You can see the Government of India's account on the Government of India's website. You can also provide RTI, where the money is being utilized, how much money is being remaining. You can get all the information. Cess, you can write, it is a temporary levy. It is a temporary levy to achieve certain specific objectives to achieve certain specific objective. First of all, once the objective is realized, it may be withdrawn. First of all, like education cess in India is levied, for promoting education. Education on corporates and individuals. And it is 3%. And it is 3% on total tax and surcharge. It is 3% total tax and surcharge. In bracket 2% for primary education, 1% for secondary education. 3% on total tax and surcharge. In bracket 2% for primary education and 1% for secondary education. And you can write now this surcharge. It is a tax on text. It is a tax on text imposed with the objective of removing inequalities. Imposed with the objective of removing inequalities. First off, it is applied on those people. It is applied on those people who earn an income, beyond a certain level. First of all, in India, there is a surcharge of 15%. There is a surcharge of 15% on those individuals who have an income of rupees 1 crore and above. 1 crore and above. Okay? Is it clear? Any doubt? No. Next is corporate tax. Sorry? Applied on which kind of? Income tax. Education cess is applied on the income tax and corporate tax. Service tax may applied on various services. Sir, when you pay service tax, let's suppose I need to pay to the government of India whatever I earn, 14% service tax. Then after that I also need to pay 0.5% of Krishi Kalyan cess. And then Swachh Bharat cess. So total service tax amount is 15% in total. Having service tax amount plus the 2 cess. ये होता है. ठीक है? Now next is corporate tax. देखिए corporate tax, like in case of income tax you're having 3 slabs, 10, 20, 30. In case of corporate you're having a flat 30% tax. Okay? So if you're having a domestic company, they're required to pay how much tax? 30%. If you're having a foreign company, they're required to pay how much? 40%. Plus 10% surcharge on domestic company and 5% surcharge on foreign company. So let's suppose in case of India, if a company is having a income of 10 crore, so on this 10 crore, 30% will be how much? 3 crore. On this 3 crore, you need to pay 10% surcharge. So it will be 33.33 lakh. So total tax will be 3.33 crore. So effectively in India, domestic company required to pay 33% tax. In case if a foreign company is there, you need to pay 40%. So how much it is there? 4 crore plus 5% surcharge. तो 4 crore का 5% कितना हो गया? 20 lakh. So you need to pay 4.2 crore. So effectively they're paying 42% tax. So corporate tax is nothing like 10, 20, 30. There is a flat rate of 30% domestic and 40% foreign. Plus 10% surcharge, plus you also need to pay what? Education cess. Of how much? 3% that you need to provide. Is it fine? That is what? Corporate tax. Like in the budget of 15-16, Government of India announced that we are going to reduce the tax rate for the domestic companies. Okay? And in case of last year, that is 16-17 budget, Government of India reduced the tax rate from 30 to 29%. But only for those companies whose turnover, you know turnover? Sales of the company is less than 5 crore. So if your sales are less than 5 crore, you are required to pay how much tax? 29% plus 10% surcharge plus 3% of education cess. That you are required to pay in total. Tell me any doubt? समझ में आ रहा है या नहीं आ रहा है आप लोगों को? आ रहा है ना? गुड. लिखवाने की जरूरत तो नहीं है ये? कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स जरूरत है? लिख लो भाई. You can write it is a tax on company's profits. It is a tax on company's profit. If the company is full stop. If the company is domicile in India, if the company is domicile in India, then the tax rate is flat 30%. Plus tax rate is flat 30% plus 10% of surcharge. Okay, surcharge. And in case of foreign companies, it is 40%. Plus 5% surcharge. Yes, sir. 3% will automatically at the end. Sir, says 3-3. उसमें कोई change नहीं है. There will be 3% for both the companies. But 10% and 5% surcharge is being there. Is it clear? Fine. One more line you can write. For companies turnover less than 5 crore. For companies turnover in bracket you can write sales. For companies turnover less than 5 crore rupees, required to pay 29% tax. Required to pay 29% tax plus surcharge plus cess. %29 instead of 30, 29. That's all. Plus surcharge, and this thing will be completely same. Any doubt? Okay. Now next. उसी पे आ रहा हूं मैम. Next. MET. Minimum alternative tax. Minimum alternative tax. न्यूनतम एकांतर कर. Minimum alternate tax. See. देखिए, in case of Income Tax Act, we are having a one section called Section 80. Anyone who read income tax? Sorry? Yeah, that is a tax benefits that you receive. Like, why the government of India is offering you tax exemptions or deduction, you can say. See, suppose your income is 10 lakh rupees. Okay? What government is saying, कि in case if you're buying health insurance, you can reduce or deduct 15,000 rupees here if you're buying health insurance. If you're buying health insurance policy, you can reduce this much. If you're providing certain money in the provident fund, this much you can reduce. Okay, maximum. If you're buying home, if you're taking home loan, okay, then whatever interest you will pay on your home loan, you can reduce it here. Suppose in a given year, whatever EMI you paid, the total interest component in that EMI will be, let's suppose, 1 lakh rupees. You can deduct it here. Okay. So when you do these kind of things, how much invested? 3, 4, 415. So you're required to pay tax only on the 5,85,000. So what you are doing here, you are able to save your tax that you're supposed to pay to the government of India. Because earlier you were paying taxes on how much? Now you're paying on how much? And this money belongs to you only. You'll get it in future. Yes or no? Why the exemptions are promoted by government of India, from the individual's point of view and corporate's point of view. Like, see, today you are having health insurance with you, let's suppose of 10 lakh rupees. Okay, you're walking on road, you met with an accident. What happened? You will go to a private hospital like Gangaram Hospital. You'll be treated very nicely over there. Good hospital, clean hospital, good doctors, nurses, everything. Medicines you will get for free because you are being covered with what? Health insurance. But imagine, if you've not taken the health insurance, as soon as you will met with an accident, what happened? A Sarkari ambulance will come very lately. They will take you to the Sarkari hospital. Okay, then Government of India needs to provide you one bed, not room I'm talking about, one bed, plus doctor, nurse, then free medicine, free operation, so many things they're supposed to do. Okay. So Government of India is doing lot of expenditure on you if you're not having health insurance with you. So they're saying, take health insurance, reduce my burden, please. Because in case if you will take this, it is going to help the Government of India in terms of providing health service to only those people who actually need it. They're being very poor. Now suppose life insurance. Jindagi ke saath bhi, jindagi ke baad bhi. Okay. You've taken a life insurance of, let's suppose, 1 crore rupees. Somehow what happened? Some problem happened and you know more. What happened if you're having a family behind you? If you're not having LIC, what will happen? They will come on road. And the Government of India need to take care of the family. Provide free house in the Indira Awas Yojana. Provide free ration in the National Food Security Act. Provide free education in government school. Providing free treatment where in the Sarkari hospital. The burden is increasing. But on the other hand, if you've taken a life insurance of 1 crore, your family will be kind of facing less problems. On the monetary side, it is not a problem. On the other hand, it is obviously a problem, but monetary issues will not face. And you will not be dependent upon the Government of India. So that's why they ask you to do investment, make yourself secured, provide less burden on the Government of India. Because whatever you will give as a health insurance and the other, the money will be, let's suppose if you're taking health insurance, you're not meeting with any kind of problem. So whatever you're paying is basically the revenue to the company. And they will simply provide tax it to the Government of India also as a corporate tax. So they will receive double almost. Yes or no? So that's why they are being asking you to do invest. So when I'm doing these kind of things, it is known as what? Tax planning, you will say this thing. That I'm planning in such a manner that I'm paying least to the Government of India. Okay? In the same manner, when you see the profit and loss account of a company, they will provide you here a thing called revenues, whatever they will receive as a revenue. And here, expenditure. If your revenues are 100, if expenditures are 80, so you'll have 20 of net profit. And you need to pay tax on this. So what certain companies were doing in India, like Reliance and other, they were hiring the best chartered accountants from all over India at a very good salary. And they were saying, do tax planning in such a manner by taking all the exemptions, deductions in the Income Tax Act and show that we are left with nothing. We are having zero profit. So you're not cheating, you're planning. Intelligently, you are doing things in a manner that you're not supposed to pay anything to the government. Getting my point or not? So this kind of things are known as planning. But suppose on the other hand, if you start hiding your revenue, that is called tax evasion. That is illegal. Okay? Yeah, tax avoidance, whatever it is. Okay? So basically, we know that these companies are showing their income as zero. They're having a lot of money to pay as a tax. But by taking the advantage of the return, you can say the various sections and provisions, they're not giving anything to the government of India. So government said, do one thing. If you're not paying anything to me, pay at least something to me. How? Whatever profit you will calculate here, let's suppose your profit is only 2, very low. Okay, and very low amount of tax you're paying to the government of India. Do one thing. Take this P&L, or you can say profit separately. Certain things that you allowed as a expenditure or deduction here, you are supposed to add it back. Like suppose you provided very high level of provisions here, add it back. You show the loss for provision for subsidiary company, add it back here. So whatever you provided as a expenditures or deduction, only not all, only few, you need to add it back. So when you add it back, what happened? Your profit will increase because earlier you were deducting, but now you're again adding these things. Yes or no? So whatever you will get here will be known as book profit. So here you're calculating net profit, and when you add it back, you will calculate a thing called book profit. So whatever book profit you will calculate, sir, please pay 18.5% MET to the government of India. So now you will get something. Earlier you were getting nothing. Okay. So those companies who are showing themselves as a zero tax liability company, they're required to calculate things like that. And they will need to pay what? MET plus education cess also. You're getting my point or not? So this is called minimum alternative tax. Okay? Pay something. Do not go like this only. Tell me any doubt in this? Yeah, not avoidance, planning. Yeah. So that is a different thing. If you're not making any kind of profit, you're not having orders, you're having losses, then nothing will be paid. Yeah, exactly. If you're being capable of paying it, and that you can easily tell by seeing the accounts. If a chartered accountant will see the accounts of a company, he can easily tell in just one go whether the company is having money to pay tax or not. And you know that government of India is having very good, income tax officers. Like when you become IRS, if you're having a good knowledge about taxation, obviously you'll get to know in your training period. You can easily able to figure it out whether this particular PAN number return is up to the mark or not. You're not supposed to take every return outside and you need to check. Normally what happens whenever it comes to sending notices and having this kind of thing, you simply choose randomly. जिसकी किस्मत खराब वो पकड़ा गया, जिसकी किस्मत अच्छी वो बच के निकल गया. Like आप ये मान के चलिए, let's suppose if you are filing tax return for this year, जैसे मान लीजिए 16-17 जब खत्म होगा, उसकी टैक्स की रिटर्न भरने की लास्ट डेट होगी 31 जुलाई 2017. So let's suppose you file your tax return on 31st July 2017. You provided for some amount of tax refund, वो भी मिल गया आपको. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है आप बच के निकल गए अगर आपने कुछ किया होगा. You need to wait till 30th of September 2018. अगर अगले साल 18 तक अगर आपके पास नोटिस नहीं आता है तो आप निश्चिंत होकर बैठ सकते हैं अगर आपने कोई घपला किया हो तो. बट उससे पहले आ गया वो आपको झेलना पड़ेगा. और एक बार अगर नोटिस आ गया फिर वो पिछले 5, 7, 10 साल की सारी रिटर्न खोलेगा, कहां कहां क्या क्या किया है इसने. फिर वो आपकी लिस्ट बनाएगा, कहेगा भैया इतना दे अब तू, विद इंटरेस्ट प्लस पेनल्टी. फिर या तो आप दे दीजिए वरना उससे सेटलमेंट कर लीजिए, ऐसे आपको ठीक लगे. ठीक है. पर अगर वो ईमानदार निकला फिर तो फंस गए आप। ठीक है जी। तो ये क्या है? मेट। बताइए क्लियर है या नहीं है? बुक प्रॉफिट, सर जो आपने नेट प्रॉफिट निकाला था और उसमें जो चीजें घटाई थी आपने, उनको वापस ऐड कर देना है बस आपको। कुछ चीजें, सारी नहीं, सारी ऐड कर देंगे फिर तो पूरे पे टैक्स मांग रहे हैं आप। ओनली फ्यू थिंग दैट इज सब्जेक्ट टू बी एडेड, दैट इज डिफाइंड बाय द गवर्नमेंट इन द इनकम टैक्स एक्ट, डोंट वरी। यू विल एडिट, यू विल कैलकुलेट बुक प्रॉफिट। अगर आपके प्रीलिम्स में क्वेश्चन आया भी ना बुक इसके ऊपर, सो दे विल आस्क ए क्वेश्चन लाइक दिस, MET is being applied on which kind of profit? Gross profit, book profit, net profit, or other profit, whatever it is. So the answer will be book profit. What is the rate? 18.5%. Or they can ask a question, MET was introduced in the direct tax system because of the following points. One explanation, two explanation, three explanation. You need to choose the best option. ऐसा, इससे ज़्यादा नहीं पूछेगा वो आपसे. I think the funda must be clear to you कि why it is being there. If not, you can raise questions, obviously. You can write. The concept of MET was introduced in the direct tax system to make sure that companies having large profits but who are not contributing to the government by way of corporate tax, not contribute to the government of India by way of corporate tax, by taking advantage of various incentives and exemptions provided in the Income Tax Act. Exemptions and incentives in the Income Tax Act, comma, required to pay a fixed percentage of book profit, required to pay a certain percentage of book profit as MET. Full stop. It is applied on the book profit of the company. And the current MET rate is 18.5%. Okay. Yes. Next is what? STT, Securities Transaction Tax. STT. ब्रेक ले लीजिए फिर स्टार्ट करते हैं. सिक्योरिटीज ट्रांजैक्शन टैक्स, प्रतिभूति लेन देन कर. So next is STT, Securities Transaction Tax. So basically, STT is applied on the stock market transactions. Like when you're buying shares in capital market on a thing called delivery basis. Delivery basis means when you're buying the shares in your own account. Okay, it's not about the margin trading only. We'll discuss about the margin and delivery based trading when we discuss about the capital market. Like in case of delivery based trading, you are supposed to pay a tax of 0.1% only. Very low amount of tax. So suppose in a share market, if you're buying share worth of rupees 1 lakh rupees, So on rupees 1 lakh, you need to pay a tax of 0.1%. That is how much? Just 100 rupees worth of tax. Very low amount of tax you need to pay. So this 100 rupees will be shared equally by buyer and seller. So you need to divide it by 2, it will be 50. So 50 rupees will be paid by whom? By the buyer, and 50 rupees will be paid by the seller. So suppose if I am buying share from stock from you, and the total value of the share in market is, let's suppose, 1 lakh. So I need to pay 1 lakh 50, and you will receive how much? 99,950 rupees. Okay. So both of us required to pay STT. So this tax was introduced by UPA 1 government in 2004-5 budget. And that time the rate of tax was 0.125%. So people said it is very high. So they reduced it to how much? 0.1% in 2013-14 budget. So currently you need to pay just 0.1% of STT when you buy something in the stock market in the name of equity shares. Okay, is it clear or not? Just write this point. STT is the tax deduction. STT is the tax deduction that is applied to all equity transaction. That is applied to all equity transactions. Equity transactions. Full stop. It was introduced in 2004-5 Union Budget. It was introduced in the 2004-5 Union Budget by the then Finance Minister P. Chidambaram. Or you can simply write by the then Finance Minister. Full stop. Originally STT on delivery based equity share was 0.125%. 0.125% of the total value. Originally, STT on delivery based equity share was 0.125% of the total value. Now, it has been reduced to 0.1% in 2013-14 budget. Reduced to 0.1% in 2013-14 budget. Okay. Next is tonnage tax. Tonnage tax. You know, tonnage tax is being applied only on the shipping companies. Like in case of India, if you're running a shipping company, though it is a company, but you're not supposed to pay anything as a corporate tax. What you will pay? Tonnage tax. Tonnage means what? The luggage that you're carrying on the ship. Like imagine if this is a ship, water, flag. Okay, this is how you make a ship. Okay. Now, every ship is having a different capacity to carry a particular tonnage. Yes or no? So, in a year, how many days you're having? Okay. So, it is possible that in a given year, if you're having a ship, so is it necessary that your ship will work throughout the year? It may be possible that you have order for only few days, for let's suppose 200 days, and the remaining 165 days, your ship was simply parked at dockyard. Yes or no? Moreover, whenever you're using your ship for the purpose of luggage or tonnage from one place to another, it may be possible that sometime your ship is only 50% full, sometimes 75% full, and sometime utilizing the 100% capacity. Yes or no? That depends upon the orders that you're having for the purpose of taking luggage from one place to another. So in case of tonnage tax, if you will pay corporate tax, it will be kind of same 30% plus 10% surcharge. But just for the sake of making the Indian shipping company competitive with the global shipping companies, because at the global level the shipping companies are required to pay tonnage tax only. So Government of India introduced tonnage tax in 4-5 budget again. In this case, what we have provided a huge list ships with their capacity. We have mentioned the capacity of the various ships that is in operation. Plus, we also mentioned the number of days if the ship is in operation. And then the tonnage that you're carrying in a given year. Okay, so there's one thing called tonnage tax is applied on the net registered tonnage. Okay, that means the number of days the ship in operation plus the total tonnage carried by a ship in a given year. Okay, the tonnage tax is applied on what? Net registered tonnage, the total number of days the ship in operation plus the total amount of tonnage you carried in a year. So what you will simply do here, in this list you will mention for this kind of ship, for this number of days, for that much amount of tonnage, you need to pay this much fixed tax. A fixed amount of money that you need to pay as a tax in the name of tonnage tax to whom? To the Government of India. If a tonnage is more number of days, more amount. So for every kind of situation, the tax amount has been mentioned. You getting my point or not? So earlier the shipping companies were paying a tax of around 33%. But now with the introduction of this tonnage tax system, they are supposed to calculate this, and with this they are supposed to calculate a thing called notional income of the company. And currently they are required to pay, I am telling you, only 1 to 2% tax only. So earlier they were paying how much? 33%. Now they're paying how much? Just 2%, 3% taxes because of this kind of rules. Why we provide it? Because we want to provide more money to the shipping companies for the purpose of expansion. So there is a one point. If a company is taking a benefit of tonnage tax, so whatever profit you will make in a given year, 20% of book profit, not the net profit. So 20% of the book profit you need to transfer to a thing called reserve account. And that money that you will transfer to the reserve account will be strictly utilized only for the purpose of buying new ships. When you buy a new ship, what happened? The shipping industry will start growing. Okay? In case, if a company fails to do this transfer for 2 consecutive financial years, then the company will be out to take the benefit of tonnage tax for the next 10 years. 2 consecutive financial years. So now you will think what? As the Indian mind generally works, I'll do it 1 year, 2nd year I'll do, 3rd year I will not do, 4th year I'll do. Sir, if you do in this manner, obviously Government of India will cut you. Okay? In case if you're not able to do because of certain reasons, that is exempt. But if you do every alternate year, then they will not allow you. You have to justify it every time why you are not able to transfer money. Then only after that you will be able to get some sort of exemptions. Yes or no? Yes. Octroi is a different thing that you pay when you enter from one state to another. You are talking about here the shipping companies who are working at a global level. Their specific expense for shipping. What does that mean? So obviously you have so many expenses like maintenance of ship. Then you're having, this paying salaries to the staff, oil and the other. You have so many expenditures. The largest cost is basically when you take a ship on lease or if you buy the ship. That is the largest cost that you need to bear. What? which carries duties. That is a different thing. You're not talking about any other taxes. I'm just talking about the tax you're required to pay on the income of a shipping company. Duties, whatever you pay, that is a separate thing related to the shipping industry. That is other thing. Here I'm talking whatever profit you will make. You're not supposed to provide tax on profit. You're supposed to provide tax on the basis of the net registered tonnage of a ship. So for every ship, you'll calculate and you'll provide money as a tax to the government of India. Is it fine? If a question will come, they will only ask you tonnage tax will apply on what kind of companies. Answer is what? Shipping companies. Because I don't think they will be able to ask you further because it is kind of very technical. Or if they will ask you on what kind of amount it will charge, you can say net registered tonnage. Okay, you can write this point. It was introduced in 2004-5 to make the Indian shipping industry equally competitive. Indian shipping industry equally competitive with the international companies. First off, tonnage tax is calculated not on the profit or loss of a company, in a given year, comma, but by applying a notional annual income, applying a notional annual income on its net registered tonnage. Notional income on its net registered tonnage. In bracket, tonnage carried by a ship on its net registered tonnage. In bracket, tonnage carried by a ship and number of days of the ship in operation. Right, close, full stop. अच्छा धीरे लिखवाऊं थोड़ा, बहुत फास्ट हो रहा है. Okay. In the next line, however, comma, under these rules, companies must transfer 20% of their book profits every year to a reserve account. And this money should be utilized only to buy ships. First off, failure to transfer book profits to tonnage reserve account, not tonnage tax reserves. Failure to transfer book profits to tonnage tax reserves for 2 consecutive financial years. Will exclude a company from the tonnage tax scheme for next 10 years. कितने साल? 10 साल. ठीक है जी? जी सर. Sir, again defined by the government of India. It is not same, different. Fine. Now, next is VET. VET, value added tax. देखिए, like before 1986, ध्यान से समझिएगा, कैलकुलेशन वाली चीजें हैं, ठीक है. Things are not clear as of yet by the government of India, but still we'll try to discuss it. Once we discuss about the VAT, we'll turn on to GST. Okay. See, before 1986, we were having a simple way of applying excise duty on the various products. What was the issue in that particular case? Suppose there is a one manufacturer who purchased 100 rupees worth of goods. Under that, 90 cost, 10 as taxes. Okay. What he did, he added certain value to that. How much it is? 130. Value is this much. Now you need to pay 10% tax on that, the one that you sell in the market. What is that tax? 13 rupees. You will add this 13 rupees here. The price is how much? 143. So I'll sell this thing in the market at 143. The one who is buying this at 143, let's suppose added certain more value. Now the product is, let's suppose, you're having 40. He added, let's suppose, 27 rupees in that. How much it is? 170. 10% tax on that. How much it is? 17. You will add 17 here, it will be 187. You'll sell in the market. Okay, that was the system before 1986. Now, in this case, what is the issue here? This 100 on which you already paid tax. Now, in this 130, you are having this 100 plus 30 more. In case of 170, you are having this 100 plus this 30 plus the remaining, you can say 27 you're having. Okay. So in this case, you are paying taxes on this 100, 1, 2. 2 times. That is leading to what kind of issues? Double taxation. The thing on which you already applied a tax, you are again collecting tax. And by this, what happened? The price of the good is keep on increasing. And who will bear the burden? Customer. In 1986, we changed from this simple way to a thing called mod VAT. Mod VAT means modified value added tax. Okay. Now suppose 100 rupees worth of goods you purchase. 90 value, 10 tax you need to pay. Okay. I added 40 rupees in that. What is the value? 140. Tax 10%. How much tax? 14. So out of this 14, 10 I already paid. What is the other amount? 4. So 4 I need to pay on the addition that I am doing. What is the price? You can say of the good is now 140 plus 4 equals to 144 I'll sell in the market. That is the price I'll charge. Okay. Then after that, suppose you sold this thing to someone else. What is the price? Let's suppose you added 26 rupees in that. It is 170. Okay. Now the tax will be applied on how much? 170. It will be 17 rupees you need to pay. Okay. And how much tax is already been paid here? You can say 14. 3 is supposed to be added. So price will be 170 plus 3. So supposed to pay tax only on the addition that you are doing. You're getting my point or not? So basically by with this you are being able to take care what kind of issue? The issue double taxation. But What was the issue with the mod-vet? And why the government have changed from mod-vet to sen-vet? In mod-vet, I was having different rates of duties on inputs and different rate of duty on output. Now imagine, I am making a car. Okay, on the car, let's suppose the duty is 10%. Okay, but when I'm making the car, I'm using what? Glass, steel, plastic, rubber, aluminum, so many things I'm using. Different duties on different things. Okay? What I'll do, I'll calculate how much duty I already paid on these things. So suppose if it is 10%, on one item it is 5, on second item 20, then 10, then let's suppose 15, then let's suppose 20. So it may be possible what will happen, I already paid more tax on the inputs and the total tax on the output is comparatively less. So suppose I already paid a duty of 1 lakh rupee and on the product I need to pay, let's suppose 90,000 duty. So how much extra I already paid? So what I'll do, I'll claim for refund. But what Government of India was saying, ki sir, you are deliberately showing those things in high quantity which attracts high duty. You are cheating with me just for the sake of taking a refund. That leads to what? Dispute, and you're going to where? Court. And you know, court will take how much time? Long time. What I'm saying here, in case of mod-vet, different duties were there on different inputs. So in car, you're using different inputs. Suppose on steel, I'm saying you paid duty of 10,000. Aluminium 20,000 that you used in one car. Let's suppose in the third product that is called rubber, 10,000 again. Then so on. So total duty you paid 1 lakh. The total value of the car is, let's suppose, 9 lakh after the manufacturing cost and all. How much duty you need to pay if the duty is 10% on car? So I'm saying is, sir, on my car, the input that I use, on that I already paid 1 lakh rupees tax. But how much duty I need to pay now? 90,000. So sir, please give me 10,000 refund. So they were saying, sir, deliberately you are showing high duties on those things which you are using in your car and is showing in excessive way. You are cheating with me. And they were not taking these things as kind of a acceptable. That is leading to what? Disputes. And because when a dispute will arise, what happened? I will not pay anything. The government will not receive anything. That leads to what? Increase in dues. Or you can say various claims. How to take care of this thing? Apply same rate of tax on input, same rate of tax on output. It will be done. Provided by sen-vet. So in case of sen-vet, the same rate of duty on input, same rate of duty on output. Now whatever you will use, you are adding, doing certain value addition, you need to pay tax to the government of India at any cost. That was taken care by what? Central vet. Change from mod vet. ये point है. Tell me any doubt? Very simple. Yes or no? Now what is this GST now? How GST will be different in case of this VAT system? See, देखिए GST is nothing but VAT, but it will operate in a different manner. First of all, GST will be basically a destination based tax applied on what? Consumption. Okay, there's a one thing that is being used for the GST, that GST is a destination based tax. Wherever the consumption will happen, the tax will be applied at that particular stage. Okay, see, there's one shirt manufacturer. He purchased cloth, thread, buttons and the other thing of suppose 90 rupees of thing, 10 rupees worth of taxes in that. Of total how much? 100. Okay. He added value of 40. What is the value now? 140. 10% tax. How much tax? 14. How much you already paid? What is the remaining amount? 4. That is the first thing. Now what he did, he sold this thing to a wholesaler. Wholesaler purchased it how much? 140, not 144. 140. 140, this one. He added margin, 30 rupees to this. How much? 10% tax, let's suppose. How much tax? How much already paid? What is the value? 3. He sold this thing to a retailer, 170. He added margin of, let's suppose, 20. What is the price? What is the tax rate? How much tax? 19. How much already paid? 2 rupees. Okay. Now this retailer is selling this thing to a customer. How much? 190 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2. Price is 199. You will apply the tax at a last stage when the consumption will happen. You're not supposed to add tax in every stage as you're currently doing. Currently what I'm doing, I will keep on adding this thing here in this manner. In case of GST, I will keep on selling, and at the end, whosoever is the one who is being consuming that thing will add there only. How much amount? So you're having 4 rupees here, 3 rupees here, 2 rupees here. You'll add in the last. What is the price now? So you will charge 199 from consumer. At any point of time, if you break the chain of the GST, then the person who will sell further in market will not be able to take the claim of the earlier person in terms of taking the tax credit. So in GST, it is being very, very difficult to break the chain and to avoid taxes. Getting my point or not? So that is how the GST is going to work. It is a destination-based tax applied in the end. So 3 GST will be there: central GST, state GST, and integrated. Integrated applied on interstate. So suppose you're making something in Bihar. Okay? Then after that, suppose you sold this thing in Bihar itself to a wholesaler. 2 taxes will be CGST, SGST. When you sell this thing to, let's suppose, outside, let's suppose in Maharashtra. So in Maharashtra, you will apply what? CGST, IGST. And the one who is being state, who is having the consumption, they will apply what? SGST. That is how the things are going to work. Getting my point or not? So it will work in this particular manner. So GST is a destination-based tax applied on consumption. You will not supposed to add it at every stage. Wait for the last stage of consumption. So suppose if you are making something in case of Bihar and selling in, let's suppose, in Tamil Nadu. So Tamil Nadu government will apply tax on that when you will sell this thing in Tamil Nadu area. This is how it will work. Okay? Yes, sir. It will create a loss for the industrial states. So in this case, if something will happen, they will be compensated by central government, and that will be recommended by GST Council that how this loss will be taken care of. So first of all, they will not lose revenue, don't worry. Why? Currently, you are having so many companies who are being part of informal sector. Suppose that I'm a battery manufacturer, okay? The one that I'm using, let's suppose, in cars, in inverters and the other thing. I'm working completely in the informal sector. I manufacture certain batteries. Why I am not paying taxes to the government of India currently? Because I need to pay so many taxes. There's a multi-layered taxes applied by central and state government. So I'm thinking, yeah, it is better not to get into all this tax thing. Let's involve and operate in the informal sector. So suppose I made 1,000 batteries. Out of this 1,000, I sold, let's suppose, 200 batteries in market to the people without providing any chit on that. It's a kind of a local thing. So whatever 200 batteries I sold in the market, it will not be counted as a part of GDP. The remaining 800, suppose I sold it to one company who's using my battery, for the purpose of buying things, and they're providing the simply chit over that battery and they're selling in the market. Okay. So in this case, here, when this person, you can say who is buying battery from me and selling in the market, he's only required to pay sales tax to the state government. He is not required to pay what? Custom duty. Sorry, not the excise duty to the central government. Yes or no? So in this case, if GST will be there, the person who is selling the battery to this manufacturer will not be able to get the claim of deduction, because the earlier person did not pay anything. Okay. So by way of GST, all the companies who are part of informal sector, they need to register themselves as a part of formal sector. And when they will do it, you can say a lot of companies, part of informal will part of formal, and they will start paying taxes to that particular states. By way of this, what happened? GDP will also increase of the economy. So GST is a simple, because you're not supposed to pay a lot of taxes. Like when it comes to applying of GST, your excise duty will go, your VAT will go, your service tax will go, octroi will go, certain special excise duty will go. So many things will be simply dismantled. And you'll have a single tax called GST. It will make the system easier, less complicated. All the exemptions, deduction will be all eliminated. You won't be able to manipulate the system. It will be kind of easier. So GST, you can say, is one of the largest tax reforms is going to be introduced by the government of India. Because it's not like they will simply introduce it without any changes. You also need to do certain amendments also in the Constitution of India. You getting my point or not? So when you introduce it, amendments will be there, leading to so many new things in the economy. Tell me, any doubt in this? In terms of calculation. So in case of, your examination, if a question will come in case of mains examination, they will ask you about the benefits of GST. And if you have seen, yesterday there was a meeting on the part of GST Council. Still, there is so many points on which certain state governments are not agreeing. For example, Tamil Nadu and Kerala are raising certain points because they're saying that the demonetization is a kind of a, not a right thing done by the central government, and they're being, not acceptable to us. So they're not ready to support the central government in case of this GST thing. So the date of implementation is what? 1st April 17. So central government is kind of very desperate in terms of implementing this thing. But states are saying, sir, we are having less time to implement this thing. But central government say, no, we will do it at any cost. So let's see how the things will turn up, because at any cost they have to implement it before 17 September 2017. That's the last date of deadline. Okay, so maybe, I'm not saying definitely, maybe it will delay it by around 3 months. Yes, sir. So, first of all, tax credit, if I'll start explaining, it is not relevant from our examination. UPSC will never ask you in terms of, this calculation part, because you're not writing an exam for the purpose of taxation. You're writing a general exam. Under that, the question will be completely, theoretical in nature and conceptual in nature. Calculation is not required at all. If I'll start telling you the tax credit system, you'll get completely confused, because currently in the system you will say no tax credit is being allowed in the sales tax of the excise duty. because you're having a separate tax for center, separate tax for state. Sales tax applied by the state government. Excise duty applied by whom? Central government. So you're not getting any kind of credit on the sales tax applied by the central government in the name of Senvet. So certain things are being there that will create problem. Sorry? Inflation. It is not certain because you're having 4 rates, 5, 12, and I think 18 and 28. So first of all, the GST Council need to decide on what kind of item, what kind of rates will be applied. So on certain things, it may be possible that the price will be comparatively less, and in case of certain things, the price will be comparatively high. So we need to wait for this particular thing. Like for example, when you see the union list, there is a major entry changes in the entry number 84. Okay, you will eliminate entry number 92 and 92C also from the Constitution of India regarding the service tax and other. When it comes to states, you will eliminate entry number 62, not 62, sorry, 55. You will also provide something new in the entry number 55, 52 and 54. So things will be changed accordingly. So whatever changes are being there as per the Amendment Act, 101 Amendment Act 2016, you will have the explanation in your GST handout. So today, or if not today, maximum by tomorrow, you'll have 3 handouts uploaded on your student platform. One is about fiscal policy, one is about fiscal policy extra handout, and the third thing is about the GST explained. Okay, so in very brief, I mentioned about the tax credit system also. If it is understandable to you, it is fine. If it is not, then you can skip it, no issues with that. Okay, because that is all technical thing. So whatever things have been discussed as of yet in the GST Council, I mentioned in your handout of around only 5 pages of GST. So first of all, it will provide out the calculation of GST, how it will happen. Then tax credit system, GST Council, working, and the other thing. It will provide you. Any question? Yes, sir. Because, sir, you will not be able to take the credit from the earlier one. Like in case of this, if this person will not raise the bill, he will not be able to take the claim of this thing. He has to raise the invoice at any cost. That is currently easier. If manufacturing is being ended here, simply sell it in the market by providing what? Just sales tax. But to take the credit, in case of this, you have to show the bill of person from whom you purchase the item. Otherwise, you won't be able to get the credit. It will happen in this way. Just adding margin. Yeah. So it will go till the last stage. So pay to ho raha hai? It will be paid in the end. But you will raise invoice every time. The amount of tax you're supposed to pay. Then only after that you will be able to provide all the taxes. Yes. कोई डाउट है तो पूछ लीजिए. देखिए जीएसटी कोई नई चीज नहीं है. It's an old only. It's just that the way of providing things are being little different. As you can see, every time applied on the value addition only on the value addition. बोलिए कुछ पूछना है तो. हाँ जी. सर हर जगह. सर यूनिफॉर्म टैक्स स्ट्रक्चर का मतलब क्या होता है? Unless until you will not have the uniform tax rate, you will not be able to have a kind of a same taxation system all over India. तभी तो फायदा है. हाँ, लास्ट वाले में वही है. That is to be paid by the consumer. Yeah, because here you're not adding it. It's only 140. It is not 144. Currently, you're adding this 4 here. Then you're going further. In this case, you're keeping it here only. Consumption, apply all the taxes. Like this. Sorry, दोबारा बोलिए. Yeah, no issues. No. सर अगर आप मैन्युफैक्चर खुद ही रिटेलिंग कर रहे तो उस केस में उसका मार्जिन कम हो जाएगा ना, बस इतना फर्क पड़ेगा. इफ सपोज इफ आई एम द मैन्युफैक्चरर हियर 140, इसको मार्केट में सेल कर रहा हूं, तो मैं क्या करूंगा, मैं यहाँ पे 10% मार्जिन लेके बेच दूंगा 150 पे. सो दैट इज अप टू द पर्सन हु इज सेलिंग इट. इट इज अ चेन. आई एम सेइंग, आई एम शोइंग द चेन. यू आर हैविंग डिफरेंट सर्कमस्टांसेस विद डिफरेंट थिंग्स. समझ में आ गया आप लोगों को? चलिए, आज छुट्टी, कल यहीं लिखवा देंगे इसके आगे. योर क्लास टुमारो 2 ओनली, नॉट 2:30.